All right. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Um, Today we're going to look at looping a drum beat and then flanging it with Audacity. And I'll tell you what flanging is in a minute. But this is all sort of part of the trove of editing skills that you guys are going to build up. And then we're also going to talk about how to export from Audacity, export a file, a sound file that is usable. So first of all, what is flanging? Well, looping drum beats, I think you guys all know what that is. We'll talk about that in a minute, but flanging is a very interesting audio effect. Some people say it has a jet plane-like sound, so like a jet when it flies over. And it was originally used, conventional knowledge holds that it was originally used by the Beatles when they were recording the album Revolver. With their engineer, their tape machine engineer, a guy named Ken Townsend. And the basic principle behind it is you've got two tape machines, and they both are playing identical material, so an identical sound. And one tape machine is playing that at a steady speed. And the other tape machine, which has an exact copy, is playing it at a variable speed. So it speeds up a little bit, and then it slows down a little bit. So it doesn't quite stay in sync with this signal. And then these are mixed together. And what happens when you do that is that the upper harmonics, the upper frequencies actually, the harmonic frequencies and the non-harmonic frequencies, because this is used a lot with drums, which is mostly noise, a noise sound, they cancel each other out and alternatively accentuate each other. And this creates an effect called a comb filter. And we will do some more technical explanation of this this phenomenon on Friday. But for now, I think that that's enough. And this was a very popular sound for drums, for guitars. You can still go out and you can buy a flanger pedal. But what we're going to do is we're going to do it manually. We're going to actually do it without using a plugin, which is a little more like this, and it's pretty fun. And it sounds awesome on drums. So let's talk about drums. The other thing we're going to learn how to do today is loop a drum beat. Lots of music is made out of looped drum beats that are sampled from someplace else. So here is my drum beat, and in the early days of hip-hop, I think this is still relatively common, although it's harder now because of licensing laws. But in the early days of hip-hop, when you could just take any beat you want, these guys would get two records that had the same song on them, and that song would have a drum break, so a part where just the drums were playing and no one else in the band was playing. And usually the drum break would last 2 bars or 4 bars, and they would essentially get it so that drum break was playing over and over and over again. And then you could rap over it. In your guys' case, you're going to be layering bass lines over it. But here's the one I chose. And that has been used in a lot of songs, a lot of hip-hop tunes. Now, how did I find that? Well, just do the 10 most sampled breakbeats is a good one, or good breakbeats to sample. Just Google that and it'll take you to a page, and there's a whole breakdown here. Obviously some of these has been taken off of YouTube, but if you find a page where it lists the drum beats, the drum breaks rather, just highlight this section here, copy it, and then you can go to YouTube and bring up that song, and then you can, for educational purposes, rip that off of YouTube, and then you'll have it on your desktop, just like I do right here. There's a nice little MP3 of that. So I want the drum break off of that. I'm going to loop it, so I'm going to drag that into Audacity. There we go. And here it is. And remember, it's at the beginning, so let's zoom in. Remember, it's Control-1 or Command-1 if you have a Mac. And that looks like a drum break to me. Let's check it out. Alright, so what we need to do is zoom in and we're going to cut out everything but that drum break, and we want to get it so it's rhythmic too. So we want to go all the way to the next beat there. And for this, we can zoom in, and you'll see what I mean. Whoops. You'll see what I mean. Let's go back a little bit. So we want to go right before that part. Let's zoom out just a little bit so you guys get a better idea of what I'm doing. You can see these are the drum hits right here. So there's that last bass drum sort of pickup here. So we're going to go all the way to this and just lop that section off. And we'll just, this is fine, this will be good. So, oh no, I pressed the wrong button. I've done that before. Instead of pressing Command I pressed Command E, which is that's how to cut in Pro Tools. Alright, here we go. Splice it. I've separated it. Once again, I'm doing this kind of fast, so it might be a little sloppy, but I think this will sound okay. Let's move this over some more. Let's see what we got here. We'll play this from the beginning. I go back to this tool, and let's see. Alright, cool. And let's get it so we have the very beginning here, too. We want to make sure that we're right at the beginning. Yep. I think it would be this. Yeah. So right there, Command I, and we'll zoom out. Let's see how this sounds. Alright, good deal. So let's loop that, shall we? Alright, how do we do that? Well, let's zoom out. Command 3, and we will select all the parts that we don't need and erase them. We don't need any of this stuff. There we go. Alright, great. So let's go back to where our loop is. And get it kind of, oops, there, that's good. Now we're going to select it. And so remember, I have these nifty yellow lines here that show me that I've selected all the way to the edge. Now, this is the first of many times when we're going to go and use the Audacity effects, which are, especially for free software, really great. And I'm going to go to repeat. So repeat that. Let's repeat it. We want it to go for, let's just do 12, and that'll give us just over a minute. Let's do more than that. Let's do 16. 16. Okay. And look at that. Let's see how that sounds. Let's see if it's a decent loop. Okay. There's just a little bit missing. Like a smallest chunk. And it's that chunk that actually got cut off, so I should have cut that chunk off at the beginning there. But this is good. You can't really tell. Okay, so now I have looped this drum beat. Super fun to do. And what I'm going to do now is flange it. But in order to flange it, meaning I need to make a copy of it and put it out of sync with itself, to make this easier to deal with, because as you can see, these are all individual little chunks in here, so it makes it hard for me to move them all around at the same time, and we really need to be able to do that with this flanging. So I need to export this file. So this is selected here, and I'm going to export this out to my desktop. This is one of the things you're going to have to learn how to do for this class. So I use export selection. That's because it only exports what's selected. It's very convenient. And here we get a little thing here. We'll just call it drum loop. Alright, so because I have used this before, I can export as an MP3 file. You guys right now cannot. You can only export as these files, so like a WAV file or an AIFF. These are the files we've been talking about. I prefer WAV. But for your next assignment, you're going to need to turn it in as a WAV file. And we will talk about this on Friday. But if you select MP3 file, it's not going to happen with me because I already did it, but Audacity will take you to a website where you can for free download an MP3 encoder, which will allow you to make your own MP3 files. Alternately, you can also just export as a wave, and then you can use iTunes to convert it to an MP3. You would just you could really just Google. I think all you guys have PCs. Two have Macs. So you could say, how do I use my PC to convert a WAV file to an MP3? And there's tons of free ways out there to do it. Anyways, I will help you with that on Friday. But for now, let's say that you go for it and you get the MP3 encoder, and then we're going to export this drum loop as an MP3, and I'm just going to say okay, we don't need to name it, and it's heading out to my desktop, and drum loop, where are you? Oh goodness me, there it is. There's drum loop. There we go. Okay, cool. So, you don't have to delete your work, but I'm just going to delete this because I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to take the combined, all those separate loops have now been combined into one convenient to use file. And there it is in Audacity. And Audacity, of course, let's X this. You guys know how to do that. Get rid of a track. You click on X there, and it's gone. All right, so now I have my combined file here. What I want to do is flange it. So remember, and don't worry, we're going to talk about this more. Flanging is when you take an identical copy of a recording and take that copy and put it out of sync ever so slightly with the original recording. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to copy this. Alright, I'm going to press Command C, and then we're going to add a new track, and we're going to add a stereo track because we're just dealing with stereo. And there's that. Okay. And then we'll just paste it down here. Look at that. I'm going to pan these just a little bit. See, there's 30% to the left, and this 30% or 40%. Let's do 40. Well, yeah, that's fine. And I'll kind of, this is once again my little, I like to do this because it's convenient. Okay, so here's my two tracks, and I'm going to put them out of sync. Well, they're really out of sync right now. Let's hear what that sounds like. So they're completely out of sync there, and that's not good. Let's zoom in to the very beginning so we can line this up. Okay, there's our yellow line. So now they're totally in sync. What we want to do is put them a little out of sync. So let's zoom in and go to the beginning. Alright, so you can see these waveforms here. Well, let's just take this track and move it over a little like that. Now we're going to get a really neat effect. Alright, so they're out of sync, but they're not actually flanging in a technical sense, because in order to flange, the copied track that's out of sync needs to be varying its out of syncness. So what we're going to do is line this back up, and I've got this track down here selected. Let's just get it so we have this. I'm going to go to Effect, and I'm going to say Change Speed. So for that bottom track, I'm going to change speed, not by a lot. I'm going to change it, I'm going to make it 0.01% faster. And what this is going to do is ever so slowly, that bottom track down here is going to get out of sync with the top track, but it's going to happen at a changing rate. So the out of syncness is going to be changing, and what this is going to do is create that comb filter effect. So now let's listen to our, and hopefully you guys will hear this. If you're not hearing this, when you watch this, you'll definitely hear it on your own computers, especially if you put on headphones. So let's listen. There we go. You can hear that noise going down, and that's kind of like the cutoff point. Remember those cutoff points in our low-pass filters? It's similar. Alright, now, I'm not going to do it because I'm trying to get this video to be shorter than the last one, but pop quiz. So that filter point that you've been hearing going down, that sound, that's been going down, and we speeded up the bottom track by ever so slight amount. How would we make that filter, that point in the comb filter, how would we make that go back up? Yes, we'd take a section as where we said, okay, that comb filter has gone down far enough, let's say like right about here. And then we would just select from here, I don't know, let's say to there. Oops, don't want to select both tracks, just this one. There we go. And I'm going to say change speed. Okay, I guess I am doing this. I'm going to do it really fast. And I'm going to say I want you to be, slow it down, so it will be negative, and we have to make up for lost time here, so negative 0.02. Alright, and so now we get this. Now, can you hear it going back up? Alright, great. So, and then what you do is once you get your ideal flange, just play around with this, and I want you to, once you get it so it sounds cool and the effect works, I want you to select the entire track, select both of these, and you would go to export selection, and you could do, remember, you could do a wave if you want. I would like it if you would start to learn how to make your own MP3s with Audacity, but we'll get to that. And then you would export that, and then you'd have a combined flanged looped drum beat, and you could impress all your friends. Okay, so that's what you'll be asked to do on Friday. I hope to see everybody with a looped flanging drum beat. Do your best, and I will see you guys Friday. Okay, thanks. Bye.